this contest set for one fall is for the WWE Championship.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Welcome to Around the Turnbuckle. I'm the Big Alboski. That guy right there is Professor Keith. As always, and joining us, the man, the myth, the legend, the Wolfman.
Who?
Oh. Keith, we're
greased by one of the assassins for a minute there.
Yeah, the assassins just showed up. All right, man, we got comments already, man. Big Dave Motorman's here. He says, as the sun sets around the turnbuckle, we see a bad moon horizon with hardcore legend, the Wolfman. Andy's here. What's up, Andy? Saw you last night. R.I.P. Bray Wyatt. Yes, we did talk about Bray Wyatt on the 3WA pre-show, but we haven't had it around the turnbuckle since then. So, of course, Keith and I are very saddened to hear about Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk. If you want to check out the 3WA pre-show, Keith really talked at length about the career of Terry Funk. So if you want to check that out. But, yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with the families of Wyndham Rotunda and Terry Funk and all the fans who feel a loss as well. Andy saying hi, Wolf.
Hi.
Zachary saying hello. That's my son in Florida.
Okay.
So people are here to see you, my man. So the last time we talked to you on Around the Turnbuckle, you started telling us a couple of stories. You told us about the beginning of, the origins of the Wolfman. You told us about the carnival life and the things that you did in that. And then you had a couple of wrestling stories. And the next thing you know, that hour went by. It was done. You talked a little bit about Abdullah the Butcher and Terry Funk and things like that. But what I want to get into, man, is that moment in, where you were in the origins of Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
When did you get involved with the independent scene around your area, such as Triple WA?
The independent scene that I got with at first, I was actually working. I was working the carnival and that, and I was at a carnival, and I jumped the fence and went over and helped set up the NWA ring. And Earl Hebner hired me for a while. I was working with Earl, setting up and tearing down rings, traveling with him and everything. And I got beat up by Ivan and Nikita Koloff. And they said I needed to go to a training center and learn how to wrestle and everything. So I went to a training center in Hanover, Pennsylvania, here in York, or outside of York, to a gentleman named Max Thrasher, the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
And my career began. I started out as Ulrich Mildstorm. I started wrestling with a big needle in my nose, a hood over my head. They take me out to the ring. I would put the needle in my nose. I'd run the ropes a little bit, beat my opponent up, and go from there. But
David says, good evening.
That's good. But after all that, after I got trained in that, well, I first didn't get trained. They just used me as a attraction. I was just an attraction. Ulrich Mildstorm was an attraction. He wasn't really a wrestler. He was just a guy that could stick a needle in his nose and beat people up.
Right.
And I wanted to become a wrestler. I mean, I wanted to learn how to wrestle. I didn't want to just be that guy that ran out there and did something stupid and people forgot about.
Right.
So I went back to Max and I told him, "Hey man, I want to actually learn how the wrestling moves and all that." Um, there was a young man that lived around the corner from where I lived that actually was trained by Max Thrasher too, and he helped me. Sir Reginald Royce, his name was, and he actually taught me the moves. Okay, so I became, I learned my moves and everything, and I was doing ring rentals still for Max Thrasher and that, and we got to go to Philadelphia and do Eastern Championship Wrestling ring rentals and stuff, and that's how I got involved in them. You know, doing the ring rentals and that, and getting to get in there and do jobs for other guys and everything. So I learned how to wrestle and everything. But the year that I was learning how to wrestle, I didn't really get a whole lot of offense. I got beat up a lot.
Right.
Right.
I got beat up. I lost a lot of matches.
Right.
Right.
And we got there one day and they said, "Hey, Wolf, you're working Terry Funk." And then this is in '93.
Mm-hmm.
Says, "You're working Terry Funk tonight." And I'm not going to say the word what they said, but he used the branding iron and you got funked.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm all worried. Terry comes in. Terry says, "Hey, Wolf, all you got to do is listen. Because when I put my boots on, you come see me." But I told this story already. That story, I told. But I can say I owe him a big respect. Okay. Terry gave me a chance to prove that I could do things in that ring.
Mm-hmm.
And then my career just went on. I mean, I got to wrestle. I didn't only get to wrestle Terry Funk. I got to wrestle King Kong Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
I got to wrestle one of the Luke the Bushwhacker. I got to work Jimmy Snuka, and I've worked a lot, but I've also worked a lot of names in this area. Some guys that you guys haven't really done anything with, but I got to wrestle Mark Mess,
Mean Mark.
uh, and it was just great. My career has been nothing but fun, and I got to say it's thanks to the guys that gave me a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Dino Santa, that's Paul and his daughter, and you guys giving me a chance to let me help you guys get where where you're going.
Yep.
And that's what it is in this business. It should be we should help other people. A lot of times back in the day, people didn't want to help each other because they were afraid of losing their spot.
Right.
That don't matter. I mean, I'm 64, soon to be 65. I want to help every young kid I can help to get to the top because I've done what I want to do in this business, and now I want to see other kids do it.
So David's on here, Wolf. He's got a bunch of comments here. First and foremost, he says, "I remember Wolfman and ECW." And then he also says, "Professor and the Wolfman make a great commentary team."
Thank you very much, David.
Well,
So there you go.
Him and Dave makes a good commentary team.
We did a real good job, I thought. And I mean,
Yeah.
it was so great when we were done to be able to talk to Dave and see how over the moon Dave was to have gotten the opportunity to do that. And I remember how, I felt the first time that I was doing it for 3WA and how I felt when you asked me. It was kind of that same feeling all over again,
Mm-hmm.
to be asked to do it and to be part of it because I love doing it. And I mean, for me, I want the people to be happy. So when you guys tell me I'm doing a good job or you enjoy what I'm doing or any of that stuff, I mean, it's no bullshit. It really does mean the world to me. And I really appreciate each and every one of you that take the time to do that, because if you're not entertained, why am I doing it? You know,
Right.
I'm doing it to make you happy, to make you entertained, to hopefully enhance your experience and hopefully help you enjoy what these guys are doing, the real heroes, the ones that are in the ring doing what they do.
Now, I'm going to get a little off the topic, but I'm still going to talk about wrestling and everything.
Yeah.
There was a young man back in the day that I met. His name was I can't now watch. He did a German gimmick. Okay, and he kind of got fuddled by the news and everything because he did the German gimmick, and his name was Blitzkrieg, and they kind of like took this young man's wrestling career away from him because he was doing a gimmick. He wasn't going around High Hitler and all that stuff, but he was doing a German gimmick, and he was good at what he did. But because he was good at what he did, some fan got it under their skin to say the guy was doing a gimmick he shouldn't have been doing. The man had a career as a teacher. He was like a first or second grade school teacher.
Mm.
And his kids were coming to see him wrestle. But yet, his career was ruined because of something stupid.
Yeah.
So that's. But there's a lot of kids that through the years that I've worked with, at their careers are going places. Some of them they work for a while and they disappear on us. You know.
I think it's all about what you want to put into it, right? It depends on what your goals are, and it depends on how committed you are, because I mean, it's tough. You know, I know people that will talk to me and they'll be like, I want to do it, or I'm thinking about doing it, or whatever. And not that I try to discourage them or anything, but I tell them, like, it's tough. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt every single night with every single thing you do.
Oh, yeah.
You really have to understand that this is not going to be something for the faint of heart. I have it easy. I get to sit on my butt and talk. Sitting on my butt and talking is nothing. I'll sit on my butt and talk all the time. I can do that whenever. I mean, you guys are out there. I mean, just simple stuff. People would think like, oh, shoulder block. How bad is that? It's like, well, you got to hit that mat. And that mat is hard. It's plywood with a little bit of padding and some canvas on it.
What about that young man that got his busted lip there last night, Keith?
Or I mean that, you know, he unfortunately leaned in a little bit and the other guy just cracked him right in the mouth.
Cracked him with a knee.
You know,
yeah, well, he got a shot to the face and busted up his lip, and he had to go get stitches in that. I would say that it was unfortunate that he got hurt, but it happens in this business, and people say, "Oh, wrestling's fake." I mean, anything you do in that ring can get you hurt.
Yes.
You know, right now I'm not wrestling because I had an injury. And Katie wants a doctor's note from me saying that I'm cleared to be able to wrestle again.
Right.
But I'm gonna get the doctor's note because I want to wrestle and I love wrestling. So, but it put me out of wrestling because of an injury. I hurt my foot. I won the hardcore champion in a cast.
You did.
You did.
So I've wrestled hurt. Back in the day, you had to wrestle hurt. If you wanted that spot that you were in, you didn't want to lose that spot. You had to wrestle, and you didn't want to tell people, "Hey, I'm hurt and I can't wrestle." I mean, some of the matches, if you go back to WWE and some of the guys that's wrestled through the years, they've wrestled with hurt parts. People don't know they're wrestling with hurt parts. You know, I mean,
even most recently to the young kids might remember only a year ago, Cody Rhodes wrestled that Hell in a Cell match with a torn, pectoral muscle, and they saw the black and blue, but he's like, no way he was going to rob the fans of that match before he healed up.
Yeah, that's the mentality of the old school way to go. You wrestled one way or another. If you were hurt or not, if you had a chance to wrestle that night, you wrestled. And if you're hurt, you're hurt. But you don't show anybody that.
Yeah.
Can I ask you?
You don't get paid.
That's right.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So, back when you wrestled Terry Funk, you were billed as the Canadian Wolfman, right?
Yes.
So there was the Canadian Wolfman, your idea, or did somebody give you that idea? Like, where'd that come from?
I wanted to use, when I first started in the business, I wanted to use the Wolfman.
Right.
If you look behind me, you see all the Halloween stuff and everything.
Horror.
I'm into horror and all that. And I wanted to use the Wolfman. Well, they said, well, why don't you use Canadian? You're coming, the Wolfman's from Canada. I was from Saskatchewan, Canada, is where I was supposed to be from. And so I wrestled as the Canadian Wolfman for a while. And then one day the Canadian just went away and it became the Wolfman. And then for a while it was just the Wolfman, and then it became Wolfman Baker.
Right.
That's the one as Wolfman Baker ever since.
Yeah. Because I suppose, because you don't sound Canadian, so I suppose you have to drop the Canadian part the minute you cut a promo and everybody goes, wait, he doesn't sound like he's from Canada.
No, the only Canadian word I knew was connect. I heard that's a curse word or something. I don't know.
So let's talk about the origins of the SWO, because you started that, 23 years ago now.
You're coming up on 20.
Going on 23.
Yeah.
Next year will be 23. We're in the 22 stage right now.
Because I've heard some stories from some of your originals, that it was rough in the beginning, but you guys kept pushing forward.
It was rough. We started out as, it wasn't actually, so SWO wasn't really supposed to go anywhere.
Right.
SWO was supposed to just be one show, and that was it. And it was for a show we were doing for a school for my daughter to raise money so they could go on a trip.
Mm-hmm.
So we did the show. I got a hold of Dino's license and everything, and we did the show. And a week later, I got a phone call from a fire company, North York Fire Company. They were interested in doing wrestling at their fire company, and they didn't know anywhere else to go. But there was another wrestling organization in the area. I'm not going to mention the name of the organization, but there was a wrestling organization in the area, but they didn't want nothing to do with it. So we went up and did a show there, and it was supposed to be one show, and we were there for 7 years. We were there at that fire company until that fire company actually left their building, went to another building. We did shows there for about 2 years, and then we had another show scheduled the night before we were supposed to do the fire company. And one of the guys was supposed to get a hold of the fire company that didn't get a hold of the fire company, so we lost that fire company. And we just kept pushing on. We found another place to go do shows. But it was rough the first couple of years, but we just kept pushing. It was something that I loved to do.
Yeah.
I performed all my life, and it was like I had kids coming to me that wanted to work, that wanted to put on shows, and I can honestly say I don't think we ever put a bad show on.
I haven't seen one yet.
No, we started going to 3WA shows, and you told me maybe the third or fourth show in when I first met you, first started talking to you, you said, you got to get your butt down to an SWO show. And I kept saying, wow, man, Seven Valleys, that's a far drive, blah, 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 blah. But man, once I went, I wish I went sooner. It was crazy. And I started going regularly, just sitting in the front row right next to the big Bushman boys. And man, I was hooked. It was good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, here's a guy says, greetings, gentlemen, and Professor Keith.
Hi, Johnny.
That's classic Johnny Potter. It's Keith's best friend, Wolf.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and you know, so we kept doing what we wanted to do. There was 5 guys. Well, there's 5 people that started the organization. It was he's going right. I'm not going to be able to think of everyone's name, but it was me, my daughter, Bert, Stu, Gary Felix, and a young man. Like I said, he passed away, and I don't know why I can't think of his name, but he was a heck of a wrestler.
Yeah.
So we got everything started, and he was messing around with my daughter at that time, and I think that's one of the reasons I don't remember his name, because I didn't really get along with the guy that good. The organization kept it moving, and as we were running the organization, life happened. A lot of the guys, Bert's girlfriend had a baby. He had to work. He had other things to do, so he moved on. And Bert still comes around to shows. He helps with tickets and everything. Stu Leppo, he moved out of Pennsylvania. He's living down in Charlotte, and he's doing stuff with a band, and he's doing stuff with the NWA. And Jerry Felix is living life now. And my daughter Madeline, she's taking care of her kids, and her career got ruined because of a car accident. She would have been a heck of a wrestler if the car accident went and got her. But you know, I just kept rolling on, and I get to say that I met a lot of guys that just they loved the business as much as I did, and they helped me keep the business going. They helped me keep the SWO rolling. You know, and then about 7-8 years ago, I met a group of kids, and you've met everyone. You met the
Yep.
one about. I met a group of kids that were doing stuff that I didn't really like, but they were doing backyard stuff.
Backyard stuff, yeah.
And they rented my ring at my school, and they did a show for their little organization that they had going.
Right.
And I enjoyed it that much. It wasn't the greatest wrestling. Don't get me wrong.
No.
The stuff wasn't the greatest, but they're saying it was backyard wrestling and hardcore and all that. But I seen more wrestling than I did hardcore.
Right.
Okay. And I seen a lot in the kids. And the third show they did at my school, I gave them an offer, and I said, "Hey, look, you guys want to become professional wrestlers? Forget about the backyard stuff. Give me a year." They gave me a year of hard work. They were there 3 nights a week, and they busted their hump.
Training
And everything, and it began. I mean, I got guys that are on the card now. I'm not gonna mention their names. You know who.
I know. We know who they are.
Who they are. Yep.
As soon as you say backyard, somebody wants to say, "Oh, they're backyard." But they put their time in, and then I do something at every once in a while. I'll take somebody and say, "Hey, look, why don't you do the booking for me?" Okay? So a gentleman named Vicious Van Valley took the booking over.
Yep.
And for the 7 years that he was around, he killed it. He brought the SWO up to where it is now, and he had to move on a little bit. But he still comes to the shows and does shows every once in a while with us. But I gave 3 other gentlemen a chance to run the organization, and they're doing a heck of a job.
Oh, they are.
They really are.
They're doing a heck of a job, and right now, I can't say I'm the owner of the SWO. Right now, the owner's doing a heck of a job too.
Yep.
Earl Hebner, Earl.
Zach Carlucci.
Zach Carlucci.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Zach Carlucci.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to watch.
And these guys are what made the SWO what it is now.
Yep.
So you guys are going on your 23 years. What are some of your best memories of SWO that you can remember? Some of the best moments or memories that you can remember, whether they involved you or not.
Well, some of the best memories, a lot of the best memories didn't have me. I wasn't involved in.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids that came up through. I mean, we had names and everything. I had Nikolai Volkov there.
Mm-hmm.
There's I can't think of I just can't think of everyone's name. But we had killed it, man. My best memory of the best match ever, I think it was I got their picture here. Where are they? Oh, what else?
You got Keith. What you wonder? He's flipping through his scrapbook.
There you go, Zach Carlucci. That was a memory when Zach Carlucci came to me. Zach Carlucci was actually being trained by another gentleman. His name was Johnny Glitter.
Yeah.
Okay, and Zach, I knew Johnny and that because I'd go up to his school, and I helped Zach with taking some of his bumps.
Mm-hmm.
One of the bumps that he couldn't take a butt bump, and he just couldn't do it. And I kept telling him that it'll come, and we worked with him, and it finally came. But Zach didn't want to be a wrestler. Zach wanted to be a manager.
Mm.
I mean, a referee. He wanted to be a referee.
Referee, right?
Yeah, he didn't want to. And Zach Carlucci, right now, I say, is one of the best referees in the state of Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. I think Zach's one of the best referees in the game, period, right now.
He's his career. Here comes my cat. He has to come in.
Got to see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Zach Carlucci has really been there for me.
That's Prince Piranha right there saying hello to you.
How you doing, Prince? That's another gentleman.
Yep.
I love the heck out of him. He's my chicken fish. He's my chicken fish.
You've had some matches with him, right? You know.
Yeah, I've had some grown out matches with him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He's bit me, and I bit him back. You know. You know, in my career, I got to wrestle with the Molsons.
Right.
The Molsons, very familiar with the Molsons.
They were from the era of Come on, I can't. They were trained by the Samoans.
Right.
They were trained by the Samoans.
Yep, and then Jack trained a friend of mine that was actually the new referee last night. He's a friend of mine. We used to work together, and he's been coming to the shows of late. And like you say, that performing bug, he gets away from it for a little while, health reasons, or he works for the state of New Jersey, so he's trying to pull overtime and this, that, and the other thing. But like he always says, I'll always come back. If somebody will book me, I always wind up coming back because I always get the itch, and I always just have to get back in there.
Mm-hmm. It's all blurry. I'm gonna see if I can take it out of the cover.
There's another gentleman, Wolfman. There's another gentleman here by the name of Ace Dallas,
Dude, one of the leaders.
and he says we love Wolfman. Praise him.
Well, I appreciate his praise, and I appreciate everything them guys do. I appreciate everything they do.
Yeah.
Do you know who they are, Keith?
Oh, let's see.
I can't see.
I met them when they were young.
Yeah, I can't see the picture too well.
The young lady in the middle
Yeah,
is Sunny.
Sonny.
Yeah, I was gonna say that did
It looked like her, but I didn't want to say that.
Chris Candido, and the one over here, it looks kind of rough looking, was Balls Mahoney.
Okay.
Wow.
I worked with them guys in a couple shows. I worked with Balls Mahoney we had him at Triple WA once or twice, and I've worked with him at other shows and everything. But it's a shame, like those two guys are gone now.
Yeah.
They're young. They got taken young.
Yeah, way too young.
And that's why when I look back on my career, I did some crazy things. But when I look back at my career and see how long I've been doing this, and some of the younger guys that are gone before me, I mean, it's just crazy. I thank the Lord upstairs every day.
Yeah.
And he gives me a chance to do what I do. When I was a kid, I was told from school, I lost my eye when I was 8 years old. Okay, now we're going to get a little touchy here. But I lost my eye when I was 8 years old. I went through school. I wanted to wrestle in school. They wouldn't let me because of insurance reasons.
Right.
You can play basketball. No, you can't because insurance. Football. No, you can't. So all my life growing up, I was told I couldn't do these sports that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Right? So that kind of pushed me into finding something that I wanted to do. So the first thing I found that I wanted to do is perform. I wanted to do something. I couldn't sing, can't dance, but I wanted to do something in entertainment. So I got into carnival when I did the fire eating, the sword swallowing, all that stuff. And then for some reason, the day that I jumped that fence and met Earl Hebner, and he gave me a chance just setting up and tearing down rings. Earl Hebner was the man that gave me this career.
Yeah.
Okay? He's the one that gave me a chance. And I still, to this day, I still set up and tear down rings. I own my own. I still do that. And it's one of the hardest things in this business to do is to be able to go in. You got to be the first one there. You got to try to get people to help you set things up, get it done, for the show to start. And once that rings up and everything's ready to go, when that bell rings and that music comes on, it's magic.
Prince Piranha says we're here watching together. Wolf is our guy. Him and Ace Dallas. That's him and Ace Dallas, I believe.
Yeah,
and
they were watching AEW earlier today.
Yeah, at Wembley Stadium. I heard it was a crazy crowd of over 81,000. So good for them. I mean,
yeah.
I might not like Keith and I might not like a lot of things that AEW does, but that doesn't mean that we don't want AEW to exist and be a place for wrestlers to go who have that dream of doing this for a living. So it's not just WWE, it's other places they can go. Yeah, AEW, Impact, or whatever. They can go to these places and make a living doing this and love it. And if they're
not good for anybody.
And if they're going to have an annual event, because my son let me know that they're going to do this again next August in London. So if they're going to have an annual event with 80,000 people, well, then wouldn't some of the guys that we know and see and love and wrestle here in this area wouldn't love to wrestle in front of 80,000 people in London?
Yeah.
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 And I think we've got some folks that are on the cusp of that. I think we've got some folks that have a great game plan. I mean, I see, like you were saying, Wolf, we got so many leaders in that locker room. It's insane. We've got, veterans that are leaders. Some of the young guys are starting to step up. They're finding themselves. They're finding their voices. They're becoming leaders. And that's what's so great about working for SWO and for 3WA. To see these people come together. 3WA right now, it's a younger crowd, I would say, in terms of the roster is getting a lot younger, and it's a lot more people trying to find.
It's had a recent influx of young talent.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people really finding their footing with a handful of good veterans there to teach them. And I think SWO is a little more of a mix. SWO is becoming a little bit more of a mature roster. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, you've got the young guys there, and you can bring in that talent in the local area that have been to the bigger show and now can bring that experience. And that's why I say anybody that's out there and you're complaining about you don't like AEW, you don't like WWE, you don't like this, you don't like that, go down to your local independents, because that's the laboratory where the next stars are being born. That's where the new ideas are coming from. That's where the next evolution is going to be. Get over the stigma or whatever of, I got to go to a firehouse, or I got to go to a bingo hall, or it's not the bright lights. Who freaking cares? It's professional freaking wrestling. That's what it's about.
Here's the whole thing. Think about this, okay? Back in the day, there was what they called territories.
Yes.
Okay? There was WWE, there was AWF, there was UWF, there was all kinds of different organizations. They were independent wrestling organizations.
Right.
The only reason Vince McMahon or that organization is called what it is today, it's still an independent organization.
Yeah.
They just pay the boys better than what all the little ones can do.
Right.
But it's the same thing as anywhere else. It's an independent organization you get paid better. They got TV. They got something that we don't have. They have the big shows.
Yeah.
And AEW, my hands are off the AEW. They had to go out of the United States to be able to put a show on to make it big.
Right. But they did it. And it took going somewhere else to do it. And there's been other organizations through the years that's done the same thing. It's just at WWE, well, the old WWF and all that, they're known bigger in what SWO or AEW or 3WA, you have Valor, you have all these other organizations. Right.
But WWE is, everybody knows them because they got the money.
Because they're on TV.
They got the money to put it on TV and do advertising.
Right. They're on TV. And the thing is, if those are sitting at home wondering or saying, nah, you know what, I just watch WWE on TV, forget the local stuff, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, the best part about local independent wrestling in your neighborhood, because Pennsylvania, we are spoiled. There are literally organizations all over. There's some good, some bad. But if we're talking 3WA in Quakertown, we're talking SWO in the York area, which is Seven Valleys, Red Lion, whatever. There's something to be said about being part of the show. And when you're a fan and you're in that crowd of 100, 200, however how many there are, you are part of the show. All right? If you're in a crowd at a WWE event and there's 20,000 of you, chances are, unless you're in the front row, you're probably not going to be part of the show. You're just going to be one of hundreds of people screaming or saying the same stuff. But at an SWO show, at a 3WA show, you can't help but be part of the show. And it's more intimate. And you get to meet the stars. In the intermissions, you get to interact with them. You don't get that chance unless you spend a lot of money for a VIP pass. You don't get that chance to meet, these guys that just put on a great show for you, and you want to talk to them and say, hey, how you doing? And whatever, and get their autograph, get their picture taken, whatever. At an independent show, you get to do that, and you get to have. I mean, and the kids always have a great time, you know, because to them, they don't judge it that it's not WWE. To them, it's wrestling.
Yeah, it's your
In
local
that ring.
sport, it's your local sports team versus, say, going and watching the Yankees. I love going to a Yankee game. I love watching the Yankees. That's my team. But I don't have a relationship with the Yankees like I would if I was following my local minor league team. I don't have a relationship when I go to WWE with WWE the way I have a relationship with, you know, even before I got in and started doing the commentary, the relationships I have with people in 3WA, the relationships I have with people in SWO. You don't get that opportunity to talk to somebody and get to know them on a human level and get to know the person that's behind the wrestler, and you care more. You care more when it's somebody you actually know, when it's somebody, you know, you're friends with or kind of friends with, versus you care about what you were shown on television.
Yeah.
Dale says SWO is the best wrestling in Pennsylvania.
Hard to argue that.
Thank you, Dale.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes, and so speaking of SWO, Wolf, let's talk about it. Coming up, September the 16th is your next show in Seven Valleys, and you got Dirty Dango as part of that show.
Yeah, we got Dirty Dango, and like I said, it's going to be that's going to be a good show.
Oh yeah.
I've never got to meet him. I've seen him in action, so I'm waiting to see what he's going to do. But I can't wait until September 16th. What is it, 16th?
16th.
September 16th. I get to take out him one more time. You know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
He ain't more
Gold is on
than
the
me.
line.
You had him on your show before you had me on this. You know, I had to come on and make it better because last week your show kind of, you know, that
All right. I will mention his name, and he is the superstar, Merrick Miami,
stupid star.
and he is the uprising champion.
Slickest lawyers in wrestling.
And even though you beat him at that show, he did go on to win the uprising championship that same night.
Yeah, way to pick the bones.
And you know what?
Real proud of himself.
That's good though. I'm glad he did that because you know he was so mad that he got beat by the old man, the Wolfman, the horse that he calls me, all the stuff he calls me. He got so mad that he gave me in September at Seven Valleys at the Seven Valley Fire Company. I get to wrestle him for that title.
Yes.
And guess what? I'm not only gonna put him out and make him tap out. I'm gonna take that belt from him.
Well, the last time you said you were going to take a belt, you actually did. So I can't bet against you again because the last time I did, I was wrong, and you took the 3WA Hardcore Championship away from JT Cage.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which you still have.
So, yep. Merrick Miami, you bide your time. You shine that belt up. You cry all you want to the head of the organization or whatever you want to do. Just remember one thing: your days are numbered.
You know, so here's a question I want to ask you too, because you've mentioned it on your own show, and at the bottom of the screen, fans, that is the phone number of Inside the Squared Circle. This guy's on every Wednesday on Facebook, on his Facebook page, Wolfman Baker, but he's also on local channel 16 WNEP.
Yep.
And you could call in and you can ask him questions about SWO or about wrestling in general, whatever you want to ask him.
Yeah,
but the phone number is right there. But anyway, you mentioned that, you know, why should Merrick Miami wrestle Matt Cardona? Maybe you should wrestle Matt Cardona. So let's just say hypothetically that you did wrestle Matt Cardona. how do you think you would fare against Matt Cardona? Really?
Well, I put on my tights the same way he does.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in business. I've been in the business a little bit longer than what he has.
You have.
I know he's a little bit smart. He puts himself out there. You know, I've done all that. I don't have to go out and do that. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to prove anything to anybody. But I wouldn't want to beat Matt Cardona. Okay. I would like to see one of the other guys in the organization. Maybe why not put Ace Dallas against him or something like that?
That'd be interesting.
The young guys, it's time for the younger kids to shine. But I honestly say that the way he beat Matt Cardona, it was a fluke. It was cheating. It wasn't a good match. But a match is a match. Once you win that match, and it doesn't matter how you win that match, you win that match, you got to win over that person.
Yep.
So yes, he got to win over Matt Cardona. Now, and he has a win over the Wolfman. He's beaten the Wolfman.
Dale says he beat you in a cage match.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of interference there too.
Yeah.
I mean,
he beat me in a cage match, but the only reason he beat me, he had Order 66 and a bunch of other idiots with him.
mm-hmm.
You know, but it was still, and I don't complain about it. He beat me.
He won.
It doesn't matter how he beat me, but he beat me. He has a win on me. I have a win now on him. Now, the 16th and 7th Valleys, can I get another win on him?
Yeah.
You could.
We don't know.
Right.
We just got to wait until that day to find out if I can beat him again or not. I might have a bad day that day. I might, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You know, he had a bad day. He met the Wolfman that night.
Yep.
But then he knew that he had it planned. And maybe he left me beat him. Think about it. Maybe he left me beat him because I beat him quick.
Yeah.
It wasn't a long match.
Maybe he underestimated you.
Right after our match, he got his wish. He stuck his nose into another wrestling match. And them guys didn't know he was coming.
No.
So he cheated one more time and got himself where he wanted to be. And he got over.
Yep.
Right.
And that's what the business is all about, is being able to get over.
Right. And speaking of Order 66, you mentioned them a little bit ago. They got a tag team champion. They reunite, first of all. Django's back.
Django back at the last show.
And so you have General Kiesel and Django versus Rose Gold Incorporated, the tag team champions.
Former Rose Gold Incorporated, Al. They're not allowed to use that moniker anymore.
That's true. That's true.
Officially owns that. But you got to wonder what that does to the mindset of Shawn Rollins and Cody Rhodes, because now their backs are against the wall. Cody Rhodes doesn't have his money anymore. Shawn Rollins, I don't think he's getting paid anymore the way he used to. You got to wonder, is Shawn Rollins even going to show up? He's losing that sweet bodyguard money he was getting. But they've got one thing left to their name, and it's those SWO tag team titles. How hard are they going to fight to try to hang on to the last meal ticket they've got? And how bad do General Kiesel and Django want to hold those titles over their heads and know that they have taken everything that matters away from Shawn Rollins and Cody Rhodes?
Yep. And will Tim Rush survive Bro Keller, Wolfman?
Ooh, yeah, huge matchup for the Unlimited title.
You know, Tim Rush has a good chance against Bro Keller because he has a secret weapon.
Trace Parker.
Right.
And that loaded fanny pack.
2 against 1 is always dangerous. Think about it.
Yeah. Al, you know that fanny pack. Don't scowl at me like that.
I do not know that. You cannot insinuate things about Tim Rush or Trace Parker.
I'm not insinuating. I'm saying I tried to pick that up one time. Felt like a brick to me.
Yeah.
Wow. And Piranha, we were talking about Piranha. I don't know if he's still watching or not, but he's involved in that 4-way dance with Dirty Dango and a couple other guys, but Benny Slater. And so one of those guys, I mean, they get to wrestle. Each one of them are probably going to get a chance to dance, pun intended, with Dirty Dango.
And you got to believe coming out of that one, there's going to be some championship implications there. I mean, if you're the guy that walks out of that match with that level of talent, with that contenders all around for any title in the SWO in that match, you've got to believe that we're going to see some serious shakeup of the rankings coming out of that one. And not to mention Ace Dallas and Kimberly Spirit. Finally, we're going to have an end to that situation. And I can't wait for Ace Dallas to get beat up. He's been running his mouth. He's been talking trash. He's tried every plot he can think of to break Kimberly, to humble Kimberly, and it hasn't worked out, has it? And now Kimberly Spirit looking to come back and finish the job.
Well, you got to say, he wants to be praised, and the only way he can get praised is by picking on people that he can't beat.
What do you mean? I praise Ace Dallas, and I don't pick on me.
No. I do enough for that myself.
Yeah,
yes, you do.
I think he doesn't.
Yes, you do.
Spot.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. So,
anyway, it's a loaded card. September the 16th, Seven Valleys. Wolfman's involved. Dirty Dango's involved. Ace Dallas, Piranha, Evan Atlas.
Yeah, Evan Atlas had a great match.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the whole. You guys know the card quicker than I do. I don't get that stuff information until you tell me or somebody.
Yeah, it pops up on Facebook. SWO is great at making sure their fans know what they're buying their tickets for, because and that's great. That's wonderful because they've been announcing pretty much on average about a match a week. Like almost every week they pop up a new match, and so far they've announced I think 5 or 6 matches, Keith. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean without any hyperbole, I mean every match that I see is great. I mean we are so spoiled in Seven Valleys right now. If you know these guys, you know how good these cards are, and if you don't, it's worth the drive. I drive almost 2.5 hours down there, and it is worth it every single time to go and to see these cards, because these guys are some of the hardest working guys out there. They give you 110% every show. They leave it all in the ring, and it's a joy now to be able to sit there and to call these matches and put that out there on YouTube for you. And I mean, we're just expanding. That's the great thing about SWO is it's been in business for almost 23 years now. And Wolf, I feel like with the way the current management and the current guys that are involved in it, I feel like they want to take it even further, and they want to go even to a higher level than we're at now.
Yeah, and here's the thing: they're gonna take it to the moon if they want to.
Yeah, they got this real handsome ring announcer too, Wolf.
Yeah, I love Barry. I love Barry so much.
I'll tell you what, though. Here's the whole thing. All right,
you done goofed up putting your name out there.
The dudes should go where they belong. Okay, you are a very good ring announcer.
Thank you.
You took Barry and helped Barry. Okay, we have 2 good ring announcers, and I'm gonna blow your head up. Okay, you kind of helped Barry to where Barry is now. Yeah. So Barry's there when he needs help, you give it to him. When you went on vacation last month, He was there. He did the show. He did a heck of a job. And I say he did a heck of a job because you helped him and got him where he got it. Okay, and he's playing off of you because he knows what's going on. Yeah. Who's complaining?
That says Dirty Dango won't be as hungry as Prince Piranha.
Very hard to be as hungry as Prince Piranha.
I don't think anybody's as hungry as Prince Piranha. Yeah. I appreciate that, Wolf. I really do. I appreciate you saying that. And before we wind this down, I want to do two things. I got one more question for you that we're going to end things on, but I want to remind everybody that we have a program note for Keith and I. Next Sunday is Labor Day Sunday.
Yeah.
I hope you have that time to spend with your families and enjoy Labor Day weekend. There will be no Around the Turnbuckle that night. Next Sunday night is Labor Day Sunday, so we will not have a show. But in 2 weeks, we'll be back here on Around the Turnbuckle with the new young upcomer we saw last night, Andrew the Warrior, will be here on Around the Turnbuckle. That
He's
is
the one that got his mouth busted open.
yes, that
Yes,
guy.
That guy.
I talked to him at length this morning. Had a nice conversation with him, and he's a young upcoming young man, and he's excited to really get his career going. He's not even a year in, so he's really young and excited to get moving and to get going and to get better. He wants to get better, and so we're going to talk to him about starting this journey he's on. So Andrew the Warrior will be here, not next Sunday, but the following Sunday, the 10th. He will be here on Around the Turnbuckle. So my last question to you, Wolf, and we've talked about this a lot, you and I, and I'm sure you have with Keith, that you're at the tail end of your career. So my question to you is, how do you want to end your career, but also how do you want to be remembered?
I don't want to end my career.
Well, that's an easy answer. No, I don't want to end my career.
I don't want to end my career. I know my career is coming. My in-ring wrestling career is.
That's what I was referring to, because I know you'll never leave the business.
No, it's coming, and I'm not going to be able to do it as long as I feel that I can still go. I'll go.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be known as the guy that took an organization from nothing and made it what it is today. But I'm not the only guy. I don't take all the credit for SWO. I give each and every one of the guys that ever worked for me or for this company, I give them the kudos of knowing that SWO is around because of them, not because of me.
Yeah, it was a team effort, but at the same time, if you asked all those guys that question, they would call you the godfather of SWO. Don't you think so?
Yeah, they would. I mean, the other four guys that helped start the organization, they had family stuff going on, and I had family stuff going on too. But I was more in love with the wrestling part of the business and actually running the business. That's why I had other guys doing the booking for me, and that because I wanted them. I mean, I had guys that were running the business for me that left me and went and started their own organizations. And everybody thought, and I'm gonna mention Valor. I knew the gentleman that went to Valor. I knew that organization was going to pop up before anybody else did, because we had the conversation that he said, Wolf, I appreciate what you've done for me. You gave me a chance to learn how to run an organization, and I want to run my own.
You're talking Adrian Bliss.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I said, go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's doing a great job. I mean, Valor's great.
Doing a heck of a job.
And they do a lot of, team efforts with some other organizations, and they always put on great shows.
Yeah, I mean, he's involved with 7 mountains.
Seven Mountain
Yeah,
CCW.
CCW.
Yep,
Uh,
whole trifecta there.
and them guys are doing a heck of a job.
Absolutely.
Well, he's
Wolfman
got
should
one
have a
next
title
month.
match with Bray Wyatt. Well, he has one.
Yeah.
September 16th.
Coming to Miami.
With Cruiser. Whatever that is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
What are you doing?
All
with
right.
William?
I'm trying to stay out of the camera because I'm trying to get it to where, where we're gonna end the show, but I'm failing. So I apologize for my finger there.
Man,
I'm giving you the finger, Wolf.
I got two of them.
Yeah, I know. I know.
You better be careful giving him the finger. He'll bite it off.
He probably would. All right. So, Professor, you got any parting gifts for the Wolfman?
I mean, just as always, it's always a pleasure talking to you, spending time with you. Roddy Piper wrote in his book about having multiple fathers in this business and people that taught him. And I mean, you're definitely one of my wrestling dads. You always have taken time with me to mentor me, to help me get better and give me opportunity wherever you can. And, I can't thank you enough for that. I love you, man.
I love you guys too.
He's about 4 months early, Professor,
Yeah.
but you can't take the spirit out of him. I'll tell you that.
Take the spirit out of me.
Cannot.
My Christmas is coming now.
It's Halloween.
And the
Yeah.
Three Brothers show, and they got to be there because I don't know if you ever been to a Halloween show when I put a Halloween show on. The kids get a lot of candy.
Kids get a lot of candy. I know. I love it. I love it.
I gotta con mine and taking the ride.
Yeah, I gotta bring my kids to that show. Definitely gotta bring my kids to that one.
And make sure they bring umbrellas.
Okay, guys. If you want to see the Wolfman in action, September the 16th, Seven Valleys, he will be taking on Merrick Miami for the Uprising Championship. You want to call in his show. That is Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. He's on there to talk wrestling. Sometimes he has a co-host, sometimes he doesn't, but he has a phone number, and you call in. That's on his Facebook page, which is Wolfman Baker, or you can find it online. It's usually around. You can find it. You will find it. But if you're local, you can watch it on WNEP channel 16. But man, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for this hour. Thank you so much for your career, and thank you so much for everything you've done for me and Keith. We appreciate you to the max. And I echo what Keith says. We love you. We love you like a dad, or that strange uncle that has weird things behind him. One of those things.
You call me Grandpa.
I'll call you a lot of things. I'll call you the Godfather of SWO because that's pretty much the truth. But anyway, man, don't go anywhere when we go off the air. One last thing I'm going to say, guys, is next week there is no Around the Turnbuckle. I'm repeating that just in case you missed it. There is no Around the Turnbuckle next Sunday, but the following Sunday on the 10th, we're going to have Andrew the Warrior here, who has had a few matches under his belt in 3WA. We're going to talk about that. Definitely going to talk about the busted lips incident we mentioned earlier, in his matchup that he had on Saturday night. What was that, Wolf?
You didn't mention the young lady that won the title last night.
I did not. Congratulations to Tiffany Avatar, the Cotton Candy Princess, for dethroning the 15-month reign of Autumn Breeze. So congratulations. Yeah. We just had Tiffany on a few weeks ago here. So yes, congratulations to her. Absolutely.
That was a heck of a show last night.
Great show. Great show. And congratulations to the dude, the 3WA Carnage champion.
Yeah.
What a moment that was.
Yeah,
Keith and I were able to present him the belt after the match was over. That was a great moment. That we'll never forget. We'll never forget that.
No.
That was great to see the professor hand the title over to him.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to open the ropes for him, but he got there before me. He was in a hurry to run into that ring.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, man, it's the man's first title ever. I could tell he was very emotional. We had some words, and I could tell it meant the world to him, and it certainly meant the world to me.
Congratulations to the dude.
Because you were dressed better than your partner was.
On that note, We'll see everybody next time on Around the Turnbuckle.
You think you know me?
Oh, yeah! If you smile.